The next step concerns the timing. We've got our cam gears, and I don't know if you guys can see, but there's an up and an up. And basically those have to be aligned completely upwards, which will represent top dead center for the first piston. We need to remove this. Keep that though. It goes on like that. Keep that. It shields the belt from rubbing on the timing belt cover. There's a little triangle just on the block there, and that has to align with this over here. That line. It looks like it's about 1 o'clock. And we basically need those to align, and once those align, it should bring the cam gears to top dead center. We want to grab our 19mm. This is the crank pulley bolt. We want to slot that back in so that we can begin rotating the cranks and getting everything lined up. My action cam battery seems to be messed up because it died again within a matter of minutes. We're going back to the DSLR. So, crankshaft pulley bolt back in, tightened up, and we're just rotating it so that we can get the triangle on the block to meet with the imprint on the actual cog itself. There, on that block. And we got to make it meet with this imprint right here. That line has got to meet that triangle. Those two white marks that are almost meeting there in the middle, they need to be aligned, and the up marks on the cam gears need to be pointing up. So we've just got a teeny weeny rotation to make, and then it should be top dead center. And what we do is we then double check that the triangle on the block meets the line on the cog on the crankshaft. Alright, that's it. That's top dead center. Is the line on the cog aligned with the triangle on the block? Yes, it is. Really hard to see, but yes, it is. So much core work here, man. What I've done is, on the cam gear and the belt, I've marked out little spots using a paint pen. And what I plan to do is transfer those little dots onto the new belt and get them to line up with the dots on the cam gear, just to be ultra safe. Next up, we are going to smack that tensioner, which is right here, and that is a 14mm bolt. Once we get that loose, we can probably take the belt off. I ended up using this big pile of a ratchet, thanks Jaden, who lent me this, but that was a tough nut to crack, so I've got it loose now. So right next to that tensioner that I was just on, that thing with the orange ring, you will notice that there's a spring. There. That spring, basically, that's the spring that holds the tension, and we need to exert some force on it so that it stretches out and we can remove the belt once the tension is off the belt and onto the spring. I just kind of loosened it more and was able to pull the belt off, so that's handy, and that gives me better access to the tensioner, and that's held in by a screw over there which looks a bit rusted, and this spring over here, but I'm going to try to remove it because I'm aiming to replace it. So just keep loosening that bolt until the tensioner comes completely off the bracket. Oh, there it is. So what's happened here is, this is the bolt, it's being held on by the spring currently. So the spring, that's the spring I was talking about, and it's hooked to that side. You can go ahead and place that back in the engine bay, but mine just kind of fell out. New, old, new, old. Here we have the cam and crank seals, which we might as well put in since it came with the kit. And you know, it's good to learn all of this, so I figured I may as well do it. So I put the new tensioner on, but I also put the old belt back on because I want to remove this 19mm again and get access to, and take this sprocket off to get access to the the crank seal, which I may as well replace. And I didn't really think ahead or research ahead, and it's only after I did some research that I realized I need to take that off, and I want to buzz this off, but that means I don't want the timing to jump. So I put everything back on just to be safe, and what I'm going to do is, as I marked the top cam gears with that Sharpie, I'm going to do the same to this sprocket. And I basically just want to give it a 1, 2, 3. There you go. And now I can remove this 19, and I can take the tensioner off, remove the 19, and so forth. Okay, we're going to remove this now so that we can start applying the crankshaft seal. Okay, so I'm slowly prying it out using the claws of a hammer. Look, I really didn't want it to come to that, but it just wasn't budging, so when you do it, you just gotta be careful you don't damage anything. Fuck me. That was one of the most painful experiences of my life. That was about half an hour to an hour straight, just wrangling this off with the claws of a hammer. Oh my god, hope I didn't damage anything, but we got it out, which means we can now reach the crankshaft seal, which should be right there. That orange thing right there is the crankshaft seal, which we are replacing. Okay, well, that's old versus new. Ah, that was just as hard to get back in, but we did it. I'm gonna be honest, this seal looks so much better than the seal I put in, as in like in terms of quality and longevity, I guess, because that's still in pretty good shape. So I don't know whether it was a good idea or not to replace it, but I figured I'd spent so much time trying to get that bloody crank sprocket off that I may as well do it. I just hope that this one doesn't leak and that I've done it right. Next up, we are going to hit those water pump bolts up there. Like that's one of them, for instance, that I'm focusing on right now, and there are a few all around the place. I'm not sure what size they are. I will find out and report. I'm guessing they're 12 or 10. So yeah, let's undo the water pump, and I'm going to remove this tensioner again just so we have more space and clearance. Good morning, everyone. We are back for another day of doing this timing belt. Okay, so what we got up to was I just replaced the seal on the crank sprocket. So I removed it and inserted the new seal in favor of the old. The old looked to be better quality, but a new seal is a new seal. Let's hope it works. Yep, so we did that. The timings jumped, unfortunately, but that was going to happen as soon as the sprocket was removed. I didn't realize that was kind of... I didn't research doing the seals beforehand, so I kind of researched that after I'd taken the timing belt off, which wasn't very useful, but we'll fix up the timing again with the marks provided on the engine block and the sprocket. That being said, we'll move on to the water pump. So I think there are 4 or 5 10mm bolts. Make sure you've got your drain bucket at the ready, because there will be coolant in the water pump. It's that's the first bolt we'll loosen, so we just throw it on there. Cracked that one. It looks like it's this one over here is the next bolt. well, not necessarily the next, but the easiest one to reach next. Oh, this is gonna be so hard. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, that fits, boys, that fits. We are lucky that fits. Oh man, so easy to crack with all that leverage. Okay, that's 2 out of 4 bolts I think that we've cracked. Just loosening these so that, oh. And we crack. Great. And where's the next bolt? That's 1, 2, 3. There's gotta be a 4th one. I'm gonna guess it's that one over there. This is actually a lot easier to reach with this big ratchet because the larger head kind of acts as an extension. I think that's the right bolt, but time will tell. Okay, so we've cracked the bolts. You can tell the seal's really good because of the fact that nothing is leaking, even though we've loosened all the tension. So we've got to actually break the seal to get the to get this apart. So this is attacking that top bolt we cracked from underneath. It's just easy to reach from here. And I don't need the leverage anymore because we cracked it, so I could probably remove that one by hand. Yeah, there she goes. There we go. Now I know that the relative order of these bolts is actually important, so I'm going to visualize it here. We'll figure it out once we get the water pump off. I'll put it right here actually. Okay, so that's gonna be top right corner. And let's get the other bolt off. Oh, that one will need an extension. Okay, let's get an extension. That one was bottom right corner, so we'll place that there. As you can see, the sizes are actually different, which is why it's important you remember what goes where. There we go. Bottom right bolt is out. Now for the top left bolt. Oh my god. Okay. It's gonna be so hard to get all of these parts back in, because removing is generally the easiest part of the process. So okay, well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 10mm screws out. I believe that's all. All the bolts are out, so let's jam something up there and try and pry it off because the seal seems to be too damn good. Here we go. We broke the seal, boys. So we'll let that leak. Look at that beautiful green juice. Alright, well that's fun because I definitely missed the bolt somewhere. I reckon it's that one over there that I missed. So we are going to get that out and we're going to do that. And there we go. 5th bolt. right there, right middle. And now I reckon we can go for the money shot and pop this puppy off its hinges. There we go. It's coming off nicely. We're gonna have to completely clean the surface when we go ahead and reinstall the new pump. But that's fine. It's all part of the fun. There we go. Water pump is out. Out. There she is in all her glory. Oh, that looks like a good water pump, to be honest. And we'll grab what we'll do to clean the entirety of that gunk, that RTV that's sitting there, we will use a blade. So this is the new water pump. As you can see, it is corroded on the fins. This is a Protex that I got as part of the kit off eBay. Yeah, not happy about that, so I'm going to be sending that back and maybe using a GMB water pump, because I can't really afford to wait till this ships back and they send me out another. So I'm going to try and source one locally. Here it is, boys, the replacement water pump to replace the replacement water pump. This one came with a gasket, which is fantastic. And I think it's meant to be slightly better quality than the previous one I ordered, so that's good. Hello, Cairo. Isn't my dog the cutest? What I've done since the last time I was working on this is I've scraped off all the remaining RTV and gasket that was on the mating surface of the water pump and the engine block. Let's throw our gasket on here, just like so. Ta-da! Let's grab one of the bolts. Let's go for the lowest one, because that seems to be the easiest. That one. So this is the first part that I'm actually installing after doing the whole rip down. And this is the hardest bit, because taking stuff apart is pretty easy when comparing it to the art of putting it back together. You know, I'm going to start my car and chances are there will be a few leaks in places that there should not be leaks, because this is my first time doing anything like this, and that's okay, because it's all about learning, and that's what this entire process is for me. It's actually really cheap to get these done on, get the timing belt and water pump done on Integras, and I suspect that's because of how easy this engine is to work on. It's, yeah, I got quoted a lot less than my, than what it cost my dad for his cars and, my friends, so forth. Okay, let's get that on there. She's catching on something, but I'm not sure what. Remove the camshaft pulleys and the back cover. Well, fuck. I basically can't get this water pump to go in properly, and I think this is why, because I need the cover removed for proper clearance. So we'll have to remove the camshaft pulleys, the cam gears, and then take the back cover off. So, oh my gosh, guys, let's get on with that. Let's remove these. So to loosen these nuts, what I had to do was stick something into the guide holes on the cam rails, and then just use an impact to basically loosen them. It's pretty hard. I had to undo this bolt to get some clearance for the impact. But yeah, these holes, so the exhaust side, the hole is there. You can stick a punch or a hex, or in this case I just used the drill bit through it and then loosen, and likewise for this, because it locks the cams. Otherwise, when you try rotate the bolt, you're actually turning the entire cam and not loosening the bolt, which is also really bad if your timing belt is off, because then your
completely jumping your timing, and your valves could possibly make contact with the pistons. Not good. Here we go. So there is a key in there that you don't want to lose. What? Where is it? There she is. So this is the key. It's kind of similar to the crank pulley key, in the sense that it's tiny and you just shouldn't lose it. And I will get the intake side right now. And that key is a bit stubborn, but we've got it. So, intake side. Done. Now we can begin to remove this putrid cover. I'm seeing a 10mm down there. 10mm, 10mm, 10mm. Here we go. And woo, we got the cover off. That's nice. That's nice and fun, guys. Okay. Well, while we're here, we may as well replace the seals. So these are the cam seals, and they go right here. What these things are, they're cam seals. So we'll pry them out. You know, you can use a drill or you can use a flathead. There we go. So these were the old ones. These are the new ones. So let's install the cam seals. Great. Well, that should compress into place once we get the cam gears back on. Probably could have cleaned it a bit, but you know what? Okay, this already feels better. Okay boys, you will be glad to know that I ended up putting these seals in correctly as opposed to just jamming them in after taking the cam gear off. What I did was I took these camshaft holders off, the rails, and then took the two end holders off, and that was allowed me to gain access to the seal and seat it properly, which is what you should do. And then I just put the two holders back on and the cam rails back on. And we're back to tightening the water pump now. So taking these cam gears off has given me like a huge advantage in terms of clearance and space. Now these bolts are only meant to be torqued very lightly in comparison to, you know, the big suspension parts. So you shouldn't really be using a big breaker bar like I was there. Yeah, so I'm not going to torque it too much. I obviously don't want to leak, nor do I want snapped bolts in the block, which would be a nightmare, especially with the lack of clearance that we actually have in this place. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. That looks like it's a good seal. Let's go in from the top and tighten them. I think that's good, guys. That's it. The water pump is on. Woo! Next up, we have to take this engine mount off so that we can remove the belt. And to do that, I need to probably drop my car a bit, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, take this garbage out. Jesus. Some forbidden juice right there. There we go. That ought to hold it. Right, to get the engine mount off, we've got a 17mm right there and 3 14s. So a 14 bolt and 2 14 nuts with washers. So a deep 14 onto the DAC. And we'll full torque. Okay, let's do it. Oh my gosh! How easy does that make it? It's crazy. These make life so much easier. There's one. And let's grab the washers. 2, 3. Ah, fly. Here we go. So we've got bolts, and then the 2 nuts with the washers. Now tuck it, and we go. Oh, like a charm. There's no denying that would have been made a lot easier with the... This entire thing would be made a lot easier with a zippy boy, but I cannot fit the impact down here, so this will suffice. It's gonna be annoying to get back in because this fucking power steering reservoir. Okay, there we go. That's the big bad 17, and now we should just be able to remove it. Would you look at that? So that is what an engine mount looks like. Drop that below, like so. And then come from the underside. Ta-da! And that is the old timing belt. So next job is transferring over the timing marks. For this, what we're going to do is we're going to count teeth to be exact. 58, 59, 60, 61 on the dot. 59, 60, 61. It should be right here. Let's double check the count on that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 50. Yeah, boy! Okay, I think we're good in terms of counting. And we just kind of squeeze her through. There she goes. And we're back in business. Okay, let's throw this back in here. And you get, there we go. There it is. Basically, we've transferred the marks over from the old timing belt and we've lined them up with those. Now we need to go down below and do the same here. So there are the 3 fresh marks on the new belt, and it's hard to see, but there are the 3 marks on the cog, the sprocket, and we just gotta line them up and then get the tensioner on. Tensioner is on, and now all we have to do is take this 14mm bolt and just thread it in, and once that's threaded in we can start ratcheting it away. So I got the tensioner sorted, and I've gone ahead and just put this back cover back in. This back cover back in. And now it is time for us to install the harmonic balancer.
Now it's time for the belts, so we'll start with the alternator belt, then fix up the alternator tensioner. The alternator belt went in without a hitch, and now it's time for the AC belt. So I've got the AC belt in and the tensioner tightened, and I've also got the alternator belt and the alternator tightened. God, this car has literally had blood, sweat and tears poured into it at this point. But fuck do I love this. Okay everyone, so this is the moment of truth. I've got no coolant in there, but that's fine. We'll try and start it up for a few seconds. This is by far the most mechanically advanced thing I've tried on my car before. It's taken many hours, a lot of effort, and even blood's been drawn in the process. So I'm nervous to start it, but hopefully the timing's fine. I did mark it out, but only time will tell. So let's start it up and see what happens. And there you have it guys, we are finally done. I've been driving the car around for a few weeks now. No crazy long distances or anything, but so far everything seems to be fine. I'm very happy though, because I got it all back together, the car runs, it works, and oh my gosh, what a relief. It's been a huge learning experience for me, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. It was challenging, but it was very rewarding. This has been a really technical video. It got split into two parts, both of which are nearly 30 minutes long. So it's a bit different to what I usually do. But I hope it helps a few of you out there if you ever choose to replace the timing belt on your Integra or your B-Series Honda. Big shout out to my parents for lending me the garage for a few days. I had to kick their cars out while I was working on mine. Massive shout out to Rex. Rex actually inspired me to do the timing belt because initially I was planning to take it to a mechanic. Go look at his channel. He's V6 swapped an MR2. He does some work on his Camry and his mate Lockie's BMW, and they recently just got a salvaged BMW which they're going to be rebuilding. So go check him out, he's doing great. Of course, a massive shout out to Jaden and Bryce for lending me the tools I need. Working on cars is essentially not just the knowledge, the experience and the skill. A big part of it is the tools that you have, and I couldn't have done it without a proper impact wrench. So I really recommend you guys get one or borrow one if you're gonna tackle a job like this. Thanks so much for watching guys. I hope you've enjoyed coming along on this massive journey with me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've got plenty more planned for the Integra. We'll do some gaskets and some seals, some maintenance for the next video, and then after that we'll do some more modifications. So stay tuned, like, comment, subscribe, let me know how you're feeling, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.